Hey up everyone, in today's video we're going to be doing a tier list of The Boys Season 4 characters. We have 5 tiers and the worst possible tier is Diabolical. That is the bottom tier where all the stinker characters will go. After this we have Hughie. Yeah, they're just okay, we don't mind them, not completely stinky, but you know, they have a bit of a whiff to them. And then we have kind of a mid, just yummers, you know, just okay, nothing too crazy, nothing too bad, just average. After this, we have Hero-gasm, very decent, maybe just miss out on being top tier, but very good and above average. And then, the final category, the best category, the peak. These are the best characters from Season 4, without any question. To start off, we have Grace Mallory, and I think we all know where this one's going. Diabolical.
I love you, kiddo.
Bruh. She only made one appearance in Season 4 from what I remember. I could be wrong about that, but she didn't have much screen time this season. Played a big impact in other seasons, but this season, oh my god, she's there for a short amount of time and she fucks everything up. She just shows there at the end of the season finale. And you know, Butcher is trying to be dead nice with Ryan, being dead protected over him, ease him about the information. And then Grace is like, this is what happens to your mum. These horrible little things have all happened to your mum and it's Homelander's fault. And you're trapped in this room. What's going to remind you of what happened to your dad when he was younger? These horrible things, what happened to him? Well, yeah, that's going to happen to you. So then she gets killed by Ryan. And then Butcher kind of like just turns to Kessler because of that. So kind of in a way, she's why Butcher's turned into this thing. You know, Ryan's now killed another person. And yeah, just awful from Grace Mallory. I don't know what the fuck she was thinking, but she ends up in Diabolical. Next up, we have Mother's Milk. And I'm going to put him in Hughie. I don't think he had that crazy of a season, a bit of a whiff to him. It was just an okay season. You know, Todd ended up getting killed and it's just a whole thing going on with his family again. Should I, shouldn't I? You know, should I fly away with my family? Just get away from it all. You know, he becomes the leader of the boys and doesn't do the best of jobs, but he's trying to be more reasonable. I thought it was just a bog standard season for the nothing crazy. We then have the Deep, otherwise known as the Peak.
Wah, wah, wah.
And I'm going to put him in Hero-gasm. Now, it's not like he's had any crazy, you know, storytelling. I feel like the most we've seen is his confidence growing with the whole thing going on with Sage. I feel like that helped his confidence a bit, making him feel clever when really he wasn't. We finally saw some sort of fight scene with the Deep as well when he was taking on Starlight. And he actually put up a good fight until A-Train came into the mix. I just thought he had a decent season, you know. Everyone kind of knows at this point that the Deep is just he's just a comedic character. I don't think you should go into the boys expecting too much from the Deep. I don't think you should deep the Deep's character and his story and anything like that. He's just a comedic character, and for what it is, I feel like he does a great job of that. Maybe you should put him in the Peak if you just want to go off comedic. Most of the laughs this season come from the Deep like we do every other season. But for me, he goes in Hero-gasm. I think he's great every season he's in. Maybe we could have done a bit more with him. But for what he is, a comedic character, I don't think you can go wrong with Hero-gasm. And then we move on to A-Train, and yeah, it's peak. It's peak. Can you imagine what other tier I would have put A-Train in this season? How can you not put him in the peak tier? He is, his redemption arc this season, I thought was done so well. You know, I feel like they've been hinting at it since Season 3. He was getting bullied by Homelander all the time. And now he's finally stood up to himself. He's finally fled from Vought. He's finally done some heroic things. You know, that smile on that kid's face, that scene was beautiful. And I've just loved A-Train this season. I was glad to see he didn't die at the end of the season. I feel like he will in Season 5. But still, he's had a great season. How can you not think A-Train hasn't had a great season? But yeah, just unreal stuff from the whole thing going on with his family, saying to, I think it was his nephews, cousins, whatever it was, oh, he's not a real hero. So then actually committing to heroic acts, trying to help Ashley as well. Just great stuff this season from A-Train, and I can't wait to see more of him in Season 5. We're then going to move on to a stinker, and that is Starlight. This season, I thought she was diabolical. I didn't like her this much this season at all. I want to say I thought the acting was done really well, the shape-shifting, I thought that was great. But other than that, I just didn't really like much of Starlight this season. I thought it was quite cool that she stuck up to Firecracker and beat the shit out of her. and then it just got flipped upside down, and it was like, okay, yeah, you beat the shit out of it, but that doesn't play into your favour. And then the reason why I've put her in Diabolical mainly is because the whole thing what went on with her and Hughie, like, I didn't, it really grinded my gears, this did. It was like, oh, you've been shagging that shapeshifter who looks exactly like me. Oh, Hughie, that is completely your fault, even though it looks exactly like me. How could you? How dare you? I just didn't like that stance at all. Yeah, maybe I should bump her up because at the end of the season finale, you know, she flies off dead fast and that was pretty cool. But at the same time, it was just a bit like plot armor in my opinion, you know. Oh, this entire season, her powers are going all fading away. And then suddenly, at the end of the season, she can fly off super fast and get away when she really needs to. I just really wasn't a fan of it. Poor from Starlight this season. I don't think she's been that great of a character throughout all of the seasons, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like she's been kind of useless to an extent. In this season, I don't feel like she's been any better. And I do feel like in the final season, they're going to make her very OP. But this season, wasn't a fan of Starlight at all. We've got Butcher next, and he's going in the peak. It's got to be done. I liked what we did with Butcher this season, where we see like a softer side to him now that he thinks, you know, he hasn't got much time on his side. I liked it, you know, we saw a few moments with him and Ryan where he was genuine, saying he was actually scared of dying and whatnot. I really like that this season, and I like the twist at the end where, you know, Kessler was the little thing in his head, I forgot what it's actually called, the thing in his head, what's been controlling him, making him want to do these evil things, like cutting off, is it Samia's leg, Neuman's husband's leg, stuff like that. I really did enjoy it. I like what we did with Butcher, the ending with Butcher where, you know, his powers actually come out, what Kessler's capable of, I thought was insane. Bit of a, you know, jumbo together between Kessler and Butcher here. But, you know, they're both kind of the same person in a sense, you know, we're working together. Whatever, you get what I'm trying to say. I just liked what we did with Butcher this season. I thought it was very clever. I liked it a lot. I liked the little plot twist towards the end of the season with Kessler being, you know, I just thought we did a great job with him. I thought, you know, Carl Urban did a great job of the acting side of things as well. And I just really like what we did with Butcher this season. And I can't wait to see how evil he's going to be in Season 5. Whether, you know, Butcher's going to be more trying to regain control of himself. Or whether Kessler's just taking full control now. I can't wait to see how we go into that into Season 5. After this, we have the new Black Noir.
Yo, what the fuck? That was so fucked up, you guys.
And I don't know whether to go with Yummers or Oi Hughie. I think I'm going to go with Yummers. I thought it was decent. I liked the little twist on it quite early on. I liked it. We didn't make us keep guessing who it was, and he was silent throughout the entire season. And then maybe towards the end, we do this big reveal of him. I'm glad we didn't do that. You know, they just gave him some random guy now, and you know, he can fly, he wants to fly a lot. The guy is narcoleptic, so he falls asleep, which I thought was quite cool as well, because the actor who plays Black Noir, who has actually been the guy who's been in the costume throughout the entire series anyway, how he's narcoleptic in real life, so they thought it would add it in. I thought that was quite cool and funny. He's kind of a comedic character now, like the Deep, but nowhere near as good as the Deep. But I still thought he was a good introduction into the boys this season. Really liked him. Thought he was funny. He had some good moments. He wouldn't shut the fuck up when he was meant to shut the fuck up. Again, the fight scene was pretty cool. It seemed like he can fend for himself and actually fight, apart from when he falls asleep mid-fight, which again was quite funny. Again, he can fly. I just thought it was okay what we did with him. Again, you could put this in Oi Hughie. There's nothing too much to him, but I really like the introduction of him, and I just thought he would go in Yummers. We then have Firecracker, and she's going in Hero-gasm. She had a lot of screen time this season in her debut season. And I liked her a lot, if I'm being honest. Well, I don't like the character. Like, you know, she's a PDF file, so I don't want to be saying I like it. But you know what I mean. I thought what they did with the character was really good. You know, she has that beef with Starlight, and it was, you know, justified. You know, what she did to her when Starlight kind of bullied her when she was younger. Makes sense. She really sucked up to Homelander and is trying to impress Homelander with the whole breast milk thing and is taking medication in order to do it. I really liked it. You know, I like seeing her when Homelander tore, was it Webweaver apart, that you saw her like really shit herself, like she was really scared. I think she's a great addition to the boys, and I can't wait to see more of it. And I can't wait to see what happens between her and Starlight going further. After this, we have Ashley, and I'm going to put her in Yummies. I was tempted to put her in Hero Gasm because I really have always liked Ashley's character. I've always felt like there's more there, and we've kind of delved into that a bit this season, but nothing too crazy. She just does the bog standard stuff. You know, you had Sage kind of take her role, and Ashley kind of, you know, panic on what to do. You know, I like the whole thing with the cliffhanger at the end. Now she's taking Compound V, and I can't wait to see what powers she has. I hope you don't turn it into like a comedic thing. I want it to be something serious. But I can understand they might make that a possibility. But I like what we did with Ashley this season. Just average, you know. And the whole thing with her and A-Train, debating whether to leave Vought. But she just couldn't bring herself to do it. I thought it was solid. Thought she had a solid season. So I put her in Yummies. Right, we've got another low point. Hughie.
Oi, Hughie!
He's got to go in there. This guy just can't catch a break this season. He just has so many things go wrong for him, and I feel so sorry for him. You have his dad pass away, then you have his mother inject the Compound V into his dad when he made the decision not to do that, you know. So then his dad goes on to kill innocent people. Yes, he got to be able to have that send-off with his dad, but regardless, he's just like, oh no. So his dad passes away, and then you have the whole thing with Tech Knight's cave, and it's just like kind of, he's upset about it, or it's just kind of brushed to the side. And then the next episode, oh yeah, he's sleeping with Shapeshifter, the Shapeshifter version of Starlight, so he's not really consenting to going with it. Like, oh, it's just terrible stuff. And then you have the whole thing with Starlight where she's blaming him. Just, God, it was an awful season for Hughie. God, can it get any worse than season 5 for him? I don't really know. It was an awful season for him in season 4, and yeah, just diabolical for Hughie, unfortunately. But then we have his dad, and I'm gonna put him in Yummies. You know, I just loved what they did, and it's mainly, if it was just going off acting alone, Simon Pegg, he's going straight in peak. But it's not going off that alone. You know, he's sleeping pretty much all the season until, I can't remember which episode it was, I believe 5, maybe 6. You know, he gets the Compound V injected in him. He innocently kills people. He doesn't want to be doing that. He wants Hughie to put him away, you know, kill him off. He'll let him die peacefully. And that happens, and it's a nice, lovely moment. And that's why he goes into Yummies, because it's a nice moment we get. I know I've put Hughie in diabolical, but all those other bad things that happened to him just outweigh that one good thing that happened for him this season. And yeah, so I've gone with Yummies for Hughie's dad. Again, just a very nice scene. Now that he remembers Hughie and he gets that nice send off. I just liked it all, and the whole reconnecting with the mother as well, his wife, just some good stuff right there, so I'm going to put him in Yummies. We then have the main man himself, and that is none other than Homelander, and he obviously goes into peak. And honestly, I could just put him into peak for his performance in episode 4. And not just his performance, but just that episode alone. I think it's one of my favourite episodes in all of The Boys. It's such a great episode. Just him taking it out on those who raised him like a I don't know how, like a lab rat pretty much. It was just, it was so great. You know, the ending to it where he's coming out the elevator and that woman is stuck in that, you know, that box room, and she's locked in there with all those dead bodies smeared all across the walls, smeared all around. She's locked in that room. She's gonna die being surrounded by dead people. Just, brutal. But yeah, I loved Homelander this season. The whole thing, the relationship with him and Ryan, just all of it. Thought it was great, the whole political stuff. I love the relationship between him and Sage as well. That was great, some great stuff right there. I thought it was great from Homelander this season. Yeah, we didn't get too much action apart from, you know, the thing in episode 4, and obviously when he tore Webweaver, but I don't mind that. I thought it was some great stuff from Homelander. And then we have Sister Sage, and again, peak. I thought she was a great addition to The Boys. Really what we wanted. Really what we needed. This mastermind who, you know, she knows what's going on. No one's been able to sniff her out yet. Yeah, she's got this, you know, the whole thing, the comedic stuff going on with the Deep as well. How she would have to have a lobotomy to make it all dumb in order to fuck the Deep. But she didn't have to do that for Black Noir. And they both, it was just quality stuff. The thing going on with Firecracker, how we both came into the 7, you know, how she doesn't mind telling, like, putting Homelander in his place necessarily. I like that as well. I just thought it was all great with Sage. I thought she was a great addition. Towards the end, she was like, oh, this is my master plan sort of thing. And it sets her up in season 5 to go on to bigger things, and I just can't wait for it. I thought she was absolutely great. I touched up on it, on about the relationship between her and Homelander. I thought it was magnificent, and I can't wait to see what happens with it in season 5. We then have Kessler, and I'm going to put him in Hero-gasm. I thought he was a great introduction. You know, I thought the twist at the end was quite cool. I know a lot of people were expecting it, including myself. But it was still a nice twist. Just because you expect something doesn't take away from how good it is. And I thought it was done really good. And I just like seeing what we got from Kessler this season. And I can't wait to see what we get going forward. Just, you know, it's like you know, you had Rebecca, like, on one side of the shoulder. Is it the devil on one side, the angel on the other sort of thing? I like that. I like that going on in this season. I like how brutal he could be. I like the difference on the powers. I thought when it was going to be the powers, it might maybe be something like Neuman and Marie from Gen V. But that wasn't the case. You know, it was like these horrible looking, like, tentacle looking motherfuckers. And I thought it was good. Can't wait to see more of it. Maybe you could put him in Yummers because there wasn't too much there. But I just liked the chemistry that him and Butcher had in all of the scenes that took part. I really enjoyed it. So he goes in Hero-gasm for me. We then have Ryan, and he's going to go into Yummers. I thought it was just okay this season. You know, I like the thing going on with him and Butcher. I like the relationship going on with his dad as well. You know, I can't remember which episode it was where his dad's like, you know, Homelander's like, oh, I'm going to let you do what you want. I'm not going to really tell you what to do. But then at the end, and then he's starting to get fond of Homelander. He's starting to enjoy him and all this. And then you have the end where, you know, I think it was that director was being horrible to that woman. He wants to help the woman. But then he ends up listening to his dad anyway. I kind of liked that. I liked what was going on there. I liked the relationships with Butcher, with Homelander. You know, killing off Grace. I feel like actually gives him extra points because what the fuck was she thinking? But yeah, Ryan, just okay, average in my opinion. If you put him in Hughie, I kind of understand why. But I didn't mind what we got from Ryan this season. We then have Victoria Neuman, and she's going straight into Hero-gasm. I like what was going on this season, where, you know, obviously very political, and how she kind of just has to go with what Homelander says, even though she disagrees with what he's saying, but she just wants to protect her and her daughter and their identity. And then in the last episode, you know, that gets ruined where Homelander displays that she is a soup. You know, he wants people to know that the politician is a soup. I just really like that. And then even the death, I know people were gutted about this, but I really like the death because it really demonstrated how OP Butcher or Kessler, however you view it, how OP they really are, because everyone thought Neuman was this OP character who could potentially take on Homelander, and then just got absolutely torn in half, literally torn in half by Kessler/Butcher's power. I just thought she had a very good season. She had a fair bit of screen time. Liked what was going on. I liked how she finally had a change of heart towards the end of the season, and then that got took away from us with Butcher/Kessler going on. I really like what will happen with Neuman this season. We then have Kimiko, and she's going to go in Hughie. I wasn't massive on Kimiko this season. You know, I thought it was sound. I like the little charm she has because she doesn't talk. I liked her actually screaming for Frenchie at the end. I like the whole scene of that. They finally, you know, get together. Thought it was great. But everything other than that, I just really wasn't fond of. I don't know, like the whole thing going on with, I can't remember her name, you know, it's quite forgettable, but that other woman who she beat up in was it like a concentration camp or whatever it was, just, did it need to be included? I don't know, I just didn't feel like it did much for her, to be honest with you. We know that Kimiko's done bad things now. I just wasn't really that bothered. Just thought it was, I don't think it was enough to be diabolical, because like I said, you had the whole thing with Frenchie. She finally shouted, she finally spoke, sorry. Thought that was pretty cool. But other than that, just Hughie in my opinion. However, we get to the final character, which is Frenchie. Diabolical. What were we even doing with Frenchie this season? Just very forgettable. Just wasn't really that bothered about him at all. I'm not one of these people at the start of the season where we're like, oh my god, Frenchie likes men, oh my god. I couldn't really give a shit if he likes men. Cool, man. But that just kind of, you had the whole thing going on with Colin, and then it just kind of fizzled out once Colin found out what happened with his parents. It was just turned into nothing. You know, he turned himself in, turned into nothing, and then at the end of the season, just got taken away. Just nothing really happening with Frenchie this season. So he goes in diabolical for me. Nothing great from Frenchie this season. And that is it. No more characters. That is how I would place every character from season 4 of The Boys. But let me know in the comments, do you agree or disagree with where I've put some of the characters in this tier list? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.